Welcome back to the newsroom, and in this new edition of ET Now on the Go, my colleague Winnie Motiwala had this fun and insightful chat with Akshay Chaturvedi, who is the founder and CEO of Leverage EDU, where they talked about the opportunities that are there in the edtech sector and the challenges as well. So let's go across and listen into them.
Now we have reached a very special company that actually solves a lot of problems for students who want to study abroad, and everything A to Z when you want to go abroad in terms of education, that's handled by this company. And to talk more about that, we have the founder and CEO at Leverage joining in with us. Akshay, thank you so much.
Thanks, Winnie. Welcome to Leverage, and great to host you and the crew here today.
Absolutely. You know, what a beautiful place and a vibe that you get, you know.
Thank you.
Only if studying was as easy and colorful as this, then it would be better. But
thank you, I'll take the compliment.
Yes, absolutely. Hoping that, you know, everything works out like that. But what you're doing is very interesting, because I think when I was in school and college, we didn't have that many options. Like, everyone would get us A to Z when you want to study abroad. Thought process behind starting the business, and you know, if you could tell us more in terms of what factors do you cover as well?
Sure. I think it was super important for us to realize that outcomes are extremely important when people think about higher education. For a long time, not just in this country, but across a large part of the emerging world, we have done education just for the sake of it. Even in the last, I would say, the decade, you would have people behaving like herds and saying that, okay, let me just do this program, let everybody do engineering, let everybody do an MBA. And you don't have jobs at the other end of the paradigm, right? And you have an unemployable generation which keeps coming up. So we said that, hey, you need to do something that you are good at, and you need to do something that will essentially give you a job at the end of the other thing. And given the per capita GDP we are at, given the fact that we want to be a very prosperous nation, it's very important that people do what they're really good at. And I think that Leverage started with the premise that let people not define their dreams by where they start their life, but let them think of the world as one. And I can actually go and study and be a part of an ecosystem where I can kind of really hone my talent in the best possible way. Just kind of complete that. If I want to do automotive, can I be in Germany? If I want to do luxury brand marketing, can I be in somewhere in France? If I want to do culinary arts, can I be in New York? If I want to do, say, winemaking, can I be in Scotland? And so on and so forth, right? So I really think of myself as a global individual and build my career like that.
Absolutely. So, you know, you do cover everything then in terms of when you say about an education system.
So, winning there about, at last count, we have a fall intake that just happened, and we had 873 professions that we had covered. Of course, a large majority of programs are programs in data science, management, marketing. That's about 35% plus.
So what is the market size of such a business, you know, and what was it that you faced in terms of a challenge when you started the business?
Sure. Today, about 1.3 million students go abroad every single year, just from India. And overall, we have 8 million students who move from one place to another for their higher education. So that's a pretty big number. If you just look at the Indian landscape, 42 million people need higher education. Of that, we have 6 million seats to take care of them. So only 1 million are going abroad. But I think today we need anything and everything to ensure India can move forward in the higher education. We need to build up our own universities. We need existing universities to improve their curriculum. We need more outcome-centric focus in our larger higher education policy, if you might call it that. And then we need a lot of people bringing up opportunities around study abroad as well. So I think everything needs to come together to really ensure that the Indian youth can keep themselves busy and do something that really takes them forward.
Actually, what was the toughest challenge that you faced in this? Because you did have, in terms of starting from giving the loans to the visas to, you know, tie-ups with the college, because it's not only India that you're focused on. You have to merge with other countries as well. So what was the biggest hiccup that you actually faced here?
That's a fantastic question. I think the biggest one was that this industry has always been super fragmented. So we had players who would not act in the interest of the student. You would have players who would And I remember when I was first pitching to a venture capitalist in Lower Parel, and he said that I hope you won't become XYZ and do kabutarbazi. That's the word he used. Because our industry was very famous for that. He would essentially have people who would take away your money and then they said, hey, you know what, I'm going to take you abroad. And we have had a Bollywood movie focusing on this in the last couple of months. So we said, hey, it's going to be really important that we build out that student first narrative. And for that, we really spent money and resources and time building products that can really help students think about their well-being first and then think about that, hey, it's a business for us. So we built a platform called Wings, which today has about 11 million unique users on the platform every single month. We built 11 different products, right, from a community which sees 3,000 unique posts and comments every single day. We built a platform that helps students directly apply to a university with one simple click. So we built a lot of things across this trifecta of product, content, community to ensure that students are feeling welcomed and they can feel this is like a trusted platform for them. And then we said, okay, now we'll start monetizing it and building it into a business. So I think those were very interesting parts of the journey, and we're glad that we were able to build a brand that students can trust, and I think everything started from there.
Absolutely, that trust is there because it's not something cheap, when you go abroad. We are spending a lot of money, so everyone's
And that is a myth as well, if I can answer that.
Really?
I think we also had to break through the myth that foreign education is expensive. Because you have programs that start from 3 lakh rupee onward in Germany, 8 lakh in Australia, 9 lakh in Canada, 15 lakh in the UK, and 25 lakh in the US. And you have higher education in India. In fact, I was looking at a tweet just yesterday where I won't name the universities, but some of our prestigious private universities all start from about 10 lakh a year for undergraduate programs. So these are very comparable programs, and students have to look at the right ROI for this. Hey, if I'm putting in X and the outcome that I get at the end of the entire thing, is that really commensurate with my pursuit of doing something that can really go in line with what I want to do, what my DNA is, and do I really do something that I will enjoy doing for about 10 years right after the program?
What is the scenario, right? So many times I have friends who have gone and studied abroad, like whether it's in the UK or US. Some of them don't get the jobs, right? Like, how does that solve the problem also, right? Like, is that something that you will cater to tomorrow as well? Or, because the market is such that, we don't get something. So, after you've studied abroad, sometimes you have to be like so disappointed that trying for a while and then they have to come back here. So, is that something that people ask you as well?
I'm glad you asked the question. Haven't talked too much about it in the past. So, let me answer it by giving you some stats. You have a large set of students from emerging countries like India going in and saying that I want to stay in London, I want to be in New York, I want to be in San Francisco. I think that's where the disconnect happens, because there are jobs in these countries, there are specific talent deserts. So for example, if you'll say I am looking for a data science / data management / marketing job in Texas or in Baltimore, as a teacher, I can make $85,000 starting in Baltimore, which is a tier 2 city in the US. As a nurse, I can go about and make a $60,000 starting salary in large parts of the middle America. Same things in the UK, and I can be in Edinburgh, I can be in different parts of Scotland, I can be in different parts of South, West, East, UK, irrespective of just being in London. In Australia, the Australian government says that if you're looking at any other city other than Sydney and Melbourne, I'm going to give you a 5-year post-study work visa instead of the 2-year post-study work visa. So there are specific talent deserts, there are specific, I would say, skill shortages. And it's very important that platforms like us tell students that, hey, do X so that you get into job Y, and that's how you're going to build a life for yourself. Rather than doing it very randomly and saying that, hey, everybody's doing an MBA, I'll also do an MBA, and then I'll go and sit in London and say, hey, get me my job.
Job hi nahi hai.
Correct.
What do you do?
So it's very important that you map your higher education to the job that you want to do. And that's why the counseling piece is very important. I think that's why we do about 200,000 counselings every single month. That's why we have 1,000 odd counselors in the office that you're seeing right now, and about 15 experience centers all across the country. So just aligning the interest of the student becomes really important. And if I can just take 10 seconds to, because I haven't spoken about this before at all, and maybe this is the first time I'm chatting about this, we are actually going forward on that angle too. We are launching something called leveragecareers.com. So we'll be helping our alumni in the UK, US, more specifically right now, find jobs as they go about finishing their degree program.
Anything that you want to go apart from India, would that be a strategy as well, right? You're doing so well here. You're helping so many students. Would you think that your thought process is something that would work out in other countries, or would you want to go as a global plan, expansion plan? Would that be something you would look at?
Sure. So we have seen that there are cities across the world that are similar to cities in India. And there are cities in India, in tier 3, tier 4 India, that are very different from the cities that we've served till now. So as of today, 15% of our business comes in from non-India source markets. So we have source markets and we have destination markets. Destination markets are of course US, UK, Australia, Canada, the big four. And then of course we have smaller countries like Germany, Ireland, Malaysia, South Korea, etc. on the scene. From a source market perspective, 85% of our business is India. The remaining 15% is Nigeria, Nepal, Dubai, and the latest is Vietnam. So we are actually expanding our wings a little and saying that can we help students in other emerging markets who need a similar platform like this with their global study abroad admissions as well.
Akshay, if I have to just say, what would be 5 or 10 years down the line, one headline that you would give about leverage? What would that headline be reading on newspaper or a news channel? What would that be?
I can give you a serious and I can also give you an outrageous answer.
Both of them.
Okay. Let me give both. The most serious one is I think we see ourselves as a contributor to building India's narrative in the outside world and ensure that we're not just helping these guys, we're not just facilitating their journey into the universities and the countries abroad, but we're also there for them once they spend their larger part of the early career there. And that's why Fly Finance is also doing immigrant banks right now. That's why Fly Homes is ensuring that they do accommodation for these folks in the first 1 or 2 years. That's why Leveraged Careers has essentially come up. The outrageous answer is once Elon is able to figure out how to put people to Mars, I think I've done very well at moving people between continents. So maybe I'm the right guy to move people between planets too.
So that would be like reading the headline would be Leverage takes students to Mars to study. If that happens, then we'll be seeing that as well.
Correct. I think
then count me in. Your first
bang
guidance.
Bang on. I'm gonna reach out to you. I'm gonna remember this. I'm gonna send you a video of this interview.
He's reaching to Mars. Tell me what's happening.
Done. But because I think we know how the SOP moves. We know how the process moves. And I'm going to write to Elon and say that, hey, you know what? I'm the guy to do this job once you are finally able to crack it.
Maybe we'll do the interview also there on Mars. Maybe we'll get it.
I think that's one. Maybe a part 2 of this should be in 2031, somewhere in Mars, in a very nicely lit gas chamber, and look forward to that.
Absolutely. But lastly, what everyone talks a lot about for every company, startup, is the path to profitability. What's the thought process behind that for you and in the company, and how do you see that, because that's given a lot of key importance right now. Everyone just talks about that. How would you talk about it for yourself, or how would you say that one should look at leverage?
I'll give you some broad numbers. Between 22 and 23, we tripled our revenue, and of course we made a lot of investments across the products, content, community, library that I spoke about. And the idea was that can we build channels which will ensure students are coming in organically and they're finding us, they're discovering us by their own selves in a more student-first way, in a more comprehensive way. Between 23 and 24, we have now almost doubled revenue again, and we reduced the losses by about 70%. So we're now EBITDA positive for the last 4 months, so almost 2 quarters. This is the second profitable quarter for us, and we will hopefully deliver a PAT plus year in FY25. So looking forward to that.
Absolutely. So on that positive note, thank you so much, Akshay, for joining in with us. It's a pleasure having you, and waiting out for more updates. Leverage Career, we're going to be looking at that site right now while I look at the site. Thank you so much for joining with us and having us here in this beautiful office of yours. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Vinny. Cheers.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.